you filing your nails? Are you filing your nails?
It's the motherfucking DRE. Dr. Dre, motherfucker.
Hey, what is going on, YouTube?
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Hey everyone, welcome to Pop XP. And before the show starts, make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to get notifications when we go live and we upload awesome new content. And don't forget, if you can, make sure to share our stream on all your social media outlets. We appreciate it, and thanks for helping us grow the Pop XP channel. What is going on, YouTube? It's your favorite crowdfunding host, Nile Scala, and Miss Cara Nicole. What's up, lady? How you doing?
I'm still in the warehouse.
I noticed
I've been
that.
here for quite a while. Yeah, I've been, my whole environment is covered in stuff. So
Yeah, I get those books out. Yeah, I get those things.
I am. I'm working on them, getting all these books out.
Happy.
What?
Got to make those customers happy.
I'm trying,
Hat,
you know.
tape, stamp, mail, ship, you know. And there's a kid behind me. Look at that.
Oh, guys are so cute.
Yeah. I'm single dadding it tonight. So I've got 5-year-old twins over on the other part of the studio, and they should be in bed, but then mom's not here, so let them hang out. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Introduce them to some great comic books.
You know, don't we have like an all ages comic book tonight that we're talking about? So it's kind of works,
comic
right?
book tonight. Yes, we do. And it's a gorgeous book. That is one thing I love, right? Is, we've had a lot of campaigns on, but it's always thrilling, exciting. I get pumped up when I've got 3 campaigns on, and the art and the story and everything's just like mind blowing. Like there's nothing better than that. Like you can really be like, back this book. And I'm looking forward to diving in. We've got some great guests tonight. We actually saw our first 2 guests tonight. Well, actually 3 guests. One's a pair. But first time coming on the show. Then later on tonight, probably, after the first half of the show, TJ Sterling's going to be joining us. So he'll be popping in to talk about his campaign, which is really cool. He's got a comic book he's working on with his brother. They got a sick-ass soundtrack that goes with it. Do you know TJ? You know TJ Sterling?
I think I do know TJ. I think he's been on before, right?
Yeah, we've had him on before. He's a really cool dude. So without further ado, let's bring these cool cats on. We got some great guys on tonight. First and foremost, we got Mr. Washington in his house. Everyone, please welcome Mr. Frankie B. Washington.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is Frankie B, and I'm in the house. I am the artist who's always shouting about the art flow.
There you go, man. There you go. Happy to have you representing. Appreciate it.
Right.
And we got a dynamic duo, Frankie. We got a dynamic duo in the house. These guys have an amazing looking book. I'm really excited to dive into this one. Everyone, please welcome Mr. Orlando and Mr. Christopher in the house. What is going on?
Hey, good to be here. So glad you guys have us. It's exciting to be here and excited to share with a group of people who are as geeky as we are.
Yeah, right on.
You're in your place, man. We're all nerds here.
We don't always get a chance to have that safe space because we all probably grew up being thrown at and think, get out of here. But here
we've been hiding our geekdom.
Exactly,
right?
but now in this place, in this space, we're accepted.
We're safe.
We're supposed to be here.
And before we get started, Chris is going to play us a little tune on the piano. So, Chris, if you want to,
the pressure's on. I know the pressure's on.
Maybe next time.
I know he was hoping to escape. He was like, "Oh Lord, please don't talk about that piano back there."
You start on the piano, and I will play some drums.
All right,
exactly. Frankie B, what are you playing? Come on.
Who, me? Oh,
yeah.
I'm just drinking coffee. That's what I'm playing.
All right, you're the manager.
I'll make the weird noises in the background for Sci-Fi.
Well, in my mind, I think I'm Jimi Hendrix. So I mean, I'm just saying, in my mind, I'm playing like Jimmy. I wish.
Love it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Man, we got some great stuff, and hey, thanks guys for coming on. This is going to be awesome.
No problem. Thank you.
Appreciate you having us. This is great.
We've got some great campaigns coming up. We're going to be talking about. I know for Chris and Orlando, this is their first campaign. They're funded. This is great.
Nice.
Mr. Frankie B, man, give us a little bit of your history. You know, how did you get into comics, and how did you get into crowdfunding?
Wow. Well, I have to be honest with everyone. I'm more. I would consider myself more of a commercial illustrator in the art industry. So I've always sort of dipped my feet in and out of comics, but mainly I've worked like in animation, I've worked in film, and I've also worked in advertising. Advertising took up a massive chunk of my career. Mm-hmm. But while that was going on, I was like, I always had a love for comics. When I first went to art school, and I'm talking way back like 1988, when I went into this particular art school, by the way, I'm a Boston boy. So I grew up in JP, Boston representing. The school that I went to, what is gone now, but it was located on Beacon Street. It was called Butera School of Art. I remember going in there, and I was all nervous. And I remember my teacher at the time. He became my teacher, but he was like sitting there, and he said, "Kid," he said, "I first want to just tell you right now." He said, "Do you want to be a starving artist?" And I was like, "No." And he said, "Good." He said, "Good, because we don't believe in starving artists here." He said, "We believe in contractors." And he laid it out. He said, we're going to help you to become an artist who will have a career in the business. People will pay you for your services, for your skills, to be able to do jobs for them. That means like just like a mechanic, just like a plumber, just like, electrician or whatever, you will be hired. And so, I did my 3 years there. And then after that, I said, well, the rest of the world will teach me. And so I bounced out of there. And then I actually fell into like working for a local film production company. And I worked on a film, did some storyboards and stuff. And then I was sort of like, I was still young. I was still in my 20s. And I just, when you're 20s, you know everything. Still that hard head. And I had an attitude a little bit. So then I bounced out of that. But then I got into animation. And that's when it sort of turned around for me, where it was like I was working for an animation studio. I was doing storyboards and concept art. And I was surrounded by all these amazing, animators and people like that. And so once that entered the picture, I was like, wow, I really love working with different artists. It was a weird kind of atmosphere where it was like you got all this great energy. Everybody's working. Everyone's bringing an A-B game. And they're making things happen. So I did that for a little bit. But eventually, with animation, it's always kind of iffy. So I worked there for, I'll say 1 or 2 years. And then I was like, I need work. And so a buddy of mine was working at one of the larger agencies, and he said, "Frank," he said, "you want to make some really good money?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I know an art buyer. They're looking for somebody over at this other agency. Send some stuff in." Like an idiot, I sent comic book pages. I sent comic book pages and story and stuff like that, and then I didn't hear anything. And so I freaked out. I called my buddy, and I said, "Dude, I sent stuff." And he said, "What did you send?" I said, "Yeah, I sent my comic book stuff and whatever." He said, "You idiot! Don't do that." He said, "Look through a bunch of magazines and draw super fast, and then just put spot colorings on it, and then send that." And I did, and next thing I know, my phone rang.
Oh, damn.
And then because that's what advertising is. They were like they're all about deadlines, about efficiency. They're like, "Look, we're dealing with these multi-million-dollar accounts. Don't think of your artwork as something that hangs on a wall. Just think on the sense that it's good for the client. The client sees it, they're happy. We all get happy because they buy it, and then we can all celebrate." That kind of mentality. And so I did that for the rest of over time and stuff. But then, that comic book side of me still dug at me. So off and on, I would sort of dip my toe back into it. I would, work on a few little anthologies here and there. I did a little RPG game, source book artwork, toy stuff. Did all these different little things. Finally, as time has come, I had to pull the trigger. And my partner, Matthew, I met Matthew, I think we're going on a maybe 7 years relationship where he contacted me online, said he was looking for somebody to do a webcomic. And I said, all right, let me just, we started talking, started working on the webcomic, 5 years working on that webcomic. It was called The Secret Lives of Supervillains. And I think it's still available on Tapa.com.
Yeah, it is.
Something
It is
like
still
that.
available.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, good.
Yeah.
It's
I did
real.
my research.
It's real. So he was talking about it, but it was around 2020. See, this is where it sucks getting old, because my memory's all like, I feel like it was maybe 2019 into 2020, where he just came out of the blue and said, Frank, what do you think about Kaijus and Cowboys? And so I was like, well, dude, you know me, I love Kaijus. And I love Westerns too. And so he said, well, okay, what do you think? And then I said, I think it's cool. And I went to sleep, but then the next day I started drawing, because that's what happens. My mind started going. So I had this image of Clint Eastwood, the man with no name, Jet Jaguar from Godzilla vs. Megalon, and then the final one was Jack Kirby's Machine Man.
Yes, yeah.
And then I saw that image so clearly, and I began drawing it, and I saw the character start forming, and the final piece was just the dreadlocks. And then this guy came to form.
Yeah, let me zoom you in here.
Right.
Very nice.
That there's Bwin.
Very
And so
cool.
and so, there he goes. Now I did not scope this. Someone much more talented than myself did this. No, a good buddy of mine named Dope Pope. He's really well known for his kaiju stuff. And he decided to jump on the campaign to work on it and stuff like that. Now this is our 4th campaign, and so we've had some pretty good successful ones. We've learned little things here and there. I can say this to anyone out there that's interested in doing crowdfunding: it is a process. The thing about it is that you're always going to learn something. You want to try to tweak things up. I say a good thing is research. Watch other campaigns. Watch how other people are doing things, and pick those little nuances up, and then see if you can, whatever works for you, hold on to it. Whatever doesn't, toss it away. I always say that crowdfunding, even doing comic books, is just one size does not fit all.
That's true.
Because everyone has a different kind of way. Like our comic, Kaijus and Cowboys, I am heavily influenced by the old Bronze Age comics like the Shogun Warriors and Godzilla. And so, for me, I wanted to do a comic book that would pay homage to that. Now, I hear people like we were talking earlier about the whole sense of all ages, which is so funny to me, because when I read comic books back in like the late 70s and 80s, there was no age. I just felt like I just was going and reading comic books. There was no sense of age or anything. I mean, there was clearly the outlaw comics that were behind the counter. You look over, you go, it's like, what's that book, Faust? And they're like, yeah, kid, you're not ready for that. But that's what I remember the guy telling me that, and I was like, all right, dude, whatever. But still, comic books were just these adventurous things. They were escapism. So I read a lot of different stuff, and so I just feel like now we kind of need a sense of, just that feel of what we experience. Because what I'm scared of, this is my fear. I do have a fear, is that I think that because of and this isn't hating on anime and manga, because I love it. I was a part of an anime club back in the 80s, so I remember old school anime and stuff like that. And I do understand why these kids love it so much, because of the hole that was left during the late 90s and whatever. And so they were kind of pushed because it was either video games or anime and manga. And so I understand all that. But with that said, I think that many of us who are still who grew up on these comic books, and we're in this, it's almost a duty that we need to be able to put stuff out there so that these kids can see that the American form of comic books is good. It's a good art form. It's something that, because again, I just said my birthday's tomorrow, so I'm turning 53. Once I turned 50, I started having these wild thoughts where I was like, yeah, I'm in the second half of my life now, man. And it's like I kind of want to, if I leave this world and I'm only just dust and dreadlocks, I want to leave a legacy, man. I want to leave something that, hopefully some kid will have the same kind of feeling I had. Like I had a chance to meet Herb Trimpe many times. He even gave me his phone number because, when he was alive. And I talked to him and expressed how, like, the fact of how it impacted me, the Shogun Warriors. That the fact that it was a genre, something that I love. Like I love watching Creature Double Feature. I love Godzilla, Gamera. I love the Shogun Warriors. I love the giant robots. And when I saw those books, even though I still love Marvel, I still love superheroes and all that stuff, this was something special to me because it was a genre that really fascinated me. And I finally saw that an American publication was doing it. And I was like, yeah, in my mind, I was like, well, there's hope. I can work in this. I can do this. But you know, alas, it's something that wasn't really embraced heavily. I mean, off and on, there was some people that did it, that tried to bring in and stuff like that. But this genre has always been a tough genre to sort of break in, until now.
Yeah.
Because now with when Cloverfield came out, and actually I would say probably there was a movie called The Host that was before it. So it's first you had The Host, and then maybe I think they came first, and then Cloverfield, the door was open. Then Pacific Rim. And then now Godzilla, and now we're like everyone. I mean, I just saw something for like Justice League, with Godzilla and Kong. I mean, everyone's jumping on the bandwagon now and stuff. And as somebody that loves this genre, I'm happy. I'm happy to see it. Now it's up to people like myself that's in the indie market to sort of step up and start doing what we do and show our love and passion for it.
Definitely. And with that, let's check out that campaign you have going on right now. So
Yes!
Kaijus and Cowboys number 3.
Yes.
Very nice. I love the colors, man. The art right here
That's
just
it.
on this splash.
Nice and bright. Nice and bright.
Beautiful. Well, let's check out the campaign video and then we'll dive into it.
All right.
Yeah.
Dude, that's sick.
That's
sick.
I will tell.
Yes, sir. Love it.
I just want to tell people out there. One of the things one of my teachers once told me, he said, Frank, you have to learn how to go out there and communicate with people. You want to try to build relationships. And that's one of the things that I've always done. I love talking to people. I love meeting people because you never know what's going to happen down the line. And I'm telling you that my buddy there, Daniel Mead, he was somebody who I previously did a graphic novel with James Biggie. James Biggie does a lot of stuff with IDW now, but I did a graphic novel, called Robot God Akamatsu back in 2012 and 2013. And Daniel Mead was somebody who just loved it. And he did like a video. He just out of the blue just did this CGI video of our robot. And it's beautiful, music and everything. And so years later, out of the blue, he contacts me and he goes, Frank, you know, he's like, I saw that you got this campaign, Kaijus and Cowboys and stuff. And I said, yeah, man. I said, oh, thank you and whatever. And he said, I want to do something. And I said, are you serious? It's one of those weird things when somebody says that they want to do something and stuff. And I said, let's talk about it and whatever. And he said, no, we'll work something out. And we did, and he just did it. And that's that whole thing where you communicate, you build these relationships with people because everyone has a strength. You know, like our strength. Me and my partner Matthew. Matthew's a writer. I'm an artist, and Daniel was able to do the CGI, and then another friend of mine, Dope Pope, was able to do the model for this figure. It's like you want to try to go out there and build these strong relationships with people. Talk to people, communicate with them. You know, you never know. There may be people out there who have
network, man. That's what you got to do.
That's what it is. And I mean, I'm saying good networking because there's bad networking, and then there's good networking. And I told Matthew, I said, our thing is that I'm looking for people that have A, B, C game. It's almost like you think about sports. When they get people, when somebody's on a team, they're bringing their A and B game on there. They have to. because that's
Yeah.
then what's the point? That level of the game that they're doing. So you have to have people that have the mindset of saying, okay, boom, this is a business. Yes, we're having fun. Let me not, I don't want to scare people and say that word business, because the thing about it is that advertising is probably the best form of the fusion of art and business, where there's an understanding. We go, okay, we understand, we do the art, and then it makes money. That was simple. It was just like there was an understanding laid out. I think with comic books, there has to be that understanding as well, that yes, this is art, this is creativity, this is all that fun stuff. But then also there's the business side of it. That means production schedule, deadlines, making sure that the people on your team that everyone's conversing with one another. If there's anything that's going to happen that causes an issue, people got to talk, or they get on the horn. Those are all those different things that you got to add in it. That's all part of business. So
yeah, 100%, man. That's why I like doing this stream too, as like a hangout.
Yes.
People get to see what other people do. You'd be surprised how many relationships have sparked, from this show.
Exactly.
And, people reach out to me and DM me like, "Oh man, thanks for having me. I'm
and
doing
kudos
this
to
with
you.
so and so."
Kudos to you both. Kudos
Yeah.
to you both. Thank you so much for doing this.
Well, this is where
Let's
Nile
talk-
met his children.
Yeah.
What, really?
Yeah, I didn't know they existed, and I was like, "Oh wow!" And then all these
No
other
way.
people came out of the
No way.
woodwork.
Dad.
They're like,
in the chat. It's like in the chat. It's like, Dad, how you doing?
I'm like, "Oh hey!" They're like,
Oh,
and then
snap.
they emailed me the ancestry report for the DNA.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm up to 16 kids.
Oh, my
It's
God.
pretty cool.
Yeah, like
I
we're
like
reading comics. Just to let you know, we are reading comics.
You like to read, Dad?
Nile,
Yeah, there
just
you go.
because they call you daddy doesn't mean they're your child. That's a different site.
Ba-dum-bump, ba-da-da-dum.
Only man, feet make a lot of money. Just throwing
There
it
you go.
out there.
There you go.
But let's dive in. So this is
Okay.
for issue 3, right?
Issue
so
3.
we've got 2 issues ahead of this. Is there a catch up in this campaign?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, issues 1 and 2. Perfect.
Yes.
So let's talk a bit about the story. We got the cover here, but let's get into the the story. What is
Sure.
this about?
Okay, I would say that the best analogy to it is that Kaijus and Cowboys is technically we're borrowing a little bit from George Lucas with Star Wars, so it's actually in the middle, because we have a previous story called Team KS1, which is before the prequel. We actually showcased the first story, one of the stories of Team KS1 inside. It came out on Wednesday through Alterna Comics. So we had one story in one of those books, but that's one that's we're going backwards, where we're gonna, once we complete this, we're gonna do a 12-issue series, because that's what happened. I sat down with Matt and I said, Matt, how many issues you think you're gonna need? And he said, I think I could do 12 issues. And I said, cool. I said, that sounds almost like Bronze Age. We're going back Bronze Age, like Secret Wars and that kind of stuff. So I said, sure, all right, let's go. 12 issues. Kaijus and Cowboys pretty much is at this point, we're in a far off, another galaxy. This is way off into some future. Above this alien world, there is a giant ark. And the ark is controlled by the Father Mind AI. And on the ark is the last remnants of humanity. They're all in cryosleep. Now, the Father Mind has sent down robots to pretty much terraform this planet, to make settlements. So the tropes that we were going with was the Western, because it's classic. It's a classic Western trope. Even though the trick is that I don't want people just to think that just because B1 does, he clearly looks like a cowboy. That's not the case. It's almost like I would say it's close to how Mandalorian is, where the Mandalorian has tropes of the Western kind of thing. Like, I've always felt that the term cowboy could be used for just anyone who does something that's extreme, that's not normal. Like someone who would say, "Oh, I'm gonna jump on a car that's running towards you," or something like that, or trying to do all these weird things. That's a cowboy kind of action. Then you have the classic cowboy who dresses up in the full attire and whatever, and then the attitude. So anyway, on the planet is inhabited by various kaijus and daikaijus. So that's the correct term. Daikaijus are the giant kaijus, and then you have the kaijus, which are smaller. But it gets really weird with that whole thing. But
Good. We love kaijus. Are weird. They're supposed
yes,
to
they're
be.
weird. That's the whole thing. Exactly.
Yeah.
So technically, kaijus. So the kaijus on this world. The question then becomes, as they're terraforming this planet, who's right and who's wrong? Because when you learn once we get to the Team KS1 story, that story dealt with Earth being attacked by some unknown kaiju forces. So You know, was it these kaijus that attacked them, and then is this retaliation? You don't know. You have to read the story, you know, to think that to sort of find out. So we're laying down these seeds for something that's going to be an expansion. We're doing. I mean, this is very tricky to kind of do because we're trying to bring back that old feeling of how, like, when Chris Claremont or John Byrne, or back then when they were doing these long stories where they kind of just like, we do a story, and then you got addicted to it like a soap opera. You sit there and you kind of watch it and you go, all right, what's the next thing? And so, tell me more of the story. And so we're definitely going back to that old school kind of format with this. So
Very
you know,
cool.
the robots are down there, and then the hunter bots are what B-Win is, a hunter bot, where he goes out and they have to technically deal with the kaijus because the kaijus are clearly attacking the settlements.
That's so cool.
So
I love the art, man. It's so I just love this.
Well,
Very
like
unique.
I'm a huge fan of Herb Trimpe. I'm a huge fan of John Byrne.
Yeah.
And Jack Kirby. And so, and also, I mean, a lot of those words, those sound effects, those are all hand drawn. I'm a traditional illustrator, so I draw right on the paper. I've missed
because you want to be
sound
able
effects.
to sell an original?
Well, that too. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. What's that meme? You ever see the meme with the brother when he's like tapping his head? Like, yeah, that's it. Cara, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've always, and I'm not gonna get too far off, but I've had talks with various people who do digital artwork, and I go, but don't you understand that having original artwork is also another way that you can, you know, is monetary. It's like something where you can make some extra money. Because the thing about it is, what if your book becomes this massive hit? Now you can have collectors. I collect artwork as well. So, I mean, as a collector, you go, oh, man, you know, I really like the book. What do you have? And they go, I just have a file. I don't know any collector out there who wants to just buy prints. I mean, even though you could do the most expensive print, but, you know, the whole point of collecting original artwork is the bragging rights. It's like, I got original piece of artwork that you don't have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people would look at it from the artist perspective and be like, oh, you just want to make money. Well, I do like to eat. And I will tell people, they'll be like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that for money. I was like, am I fat? And they'll be like, no. Yeah. Then why don't you want me to eat?
Yeah. well, that's the romanticizing of the starving artist.
Yes.
I remember I heard somebody say that once, and it was like on one of these YouTube shows, and he said, yeah, it's like the romanticizing a starving artist. And I was like, bang, like I stopped. I was like, oh my God, that's what it is. It's like people, somehow they've made that into something that's a beautiful thing, and it's not a beautiful thing. No. Being a starving artist, begging people to give you money and stuff like that, that's not, it's like, it's for artists out there who work in the industry, it is like a slap in the face because we've earned this place. I when I go to my mechanic, I'm not sitting there like, you know, hey man, trying to finagle or whatever. You know, I know that they're gonna do a good job on the car, so they get paid for that. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not gonna be finagle. Oh, here, you can hit on that as well if you want. I'm sorry, but that's the turnaround. That was done by Dope Pope of the figure.
Nice.
This is new to us. By the way,
I hate hearing, like, you see there's so much negativity on social media, right?
Yep.
But like you just hear people complaining about, like, you know, even like that whole like hashtag comics broke me thing. Like, you realize what you're trying to do. Like, getting into comics is like trying to be an actor. It's trying to be, you know, a pop star, music, you know, anything like that. Like, you have a 0.005% chance of getting, you know, any form of fame. And that's what it comes through. And you gotta hustle. And if you gotta work a day job to do it, you work a day job to do it, and you bust your ass at night, like most of us do.
I've been working since I was age 12.
Yeah.
Age 12. I hustle. As soon as my mom was like, yeah, you like comics? She took my butt. She said, come on, boy. She took me to the store and she said, pointed to me and said, to the guy working there and said, this kid's gonna fold your newspapers. And I said, okay, I guess I am. And then after that, once I started making my own money, I was like, I could try to make more money. So when it snowed, guess who had his shovel out? Yeah, knocking on doors. You know, it was just the hustle becomes part of life. It's like it becomes a normal thing. I don't even think about it anymore. That's how normal it becomes, because I'm like, yeah, this is just part of it. This is a print that we're offering. That's gonna be part of it.
Very cool. I want to check out. There's something I passed through. So you have the back issues here, right?
Yes.
Very nice. Again, love. You know, I definitely feel that Kirby vibe from you. You know, the way you do your lines, the sound effects, you know, all that stuff. What do we have here?
These are stickers.
Nice.
So we offer stickers. We offer let's see.
Yeah, patches.
Stickers.
We got patches. So you got the patches right here.
Here, let me zoom in.
Nice.
Take a look at that. Yeah, very nice.
This is this is dark.
Oh, those are
come on, light. Come on, light. Focus and put my big face in there. Technology, man. Technology. Ah! And then this is B1.
Very cool.
But again, this has all been a process. We didn't just. One of the things about me is that when I talk with Matt, I said, Matt, one of the things you got to learn is patience is a virtue. That is something that many of my mentors over the ages, over the time, over my career, have always told me. They said, patience is a virtue. Learn to breathe. You don't always have to jump real quick at stuff. Take time, do your research, so that when you make decisions, they're the best decision that you can make.
Yeah.
Now, sure, you may have some hiccups. Hiccups are not a problem. It's when you start falling into those massive ditches. That's the problem. Like a ditch turns into a cavern. Now it's like, oh, dude, I can't dig out of this. That's when you have the problems. But you want to try to maintain those, small hiccups. Not a problem. It's something that you could tweak or whatever. But you just got to make sure that each time you come out, the machine gets better and better and better.
Yeah. Nah, you guys got a fine-tuned machine here. Now, what's this print? What is this printed? Is this printed on newsprint?
No, actually, this is another tool of technology. Because back in the day, I'm so traditional. Like I still have screen tone. Screen tone, but the problem with screen tone is it's time consuming. And the thing about it is that I have other things going on too, like clients doing stuff for work and whatever. So thank goodness I use Photoshop. They have a lot of those files like screen tone, and then also paper quality. So that's actually digital paper. So I scan the artwork in. I'm able to do these old school kind of background on it, and then and then just fly with it.
Very cool, man. Very cool. So you guys are up to. So you have 20 days to go.
Yes.
You're more than halfway to your goal. You're at 57 backers. So everyone out there that's watching this live, check this out. The link's below in the description. I also put up the link in the live chat. Check this out on your own time. Go through it. Go through all the page samples. Go through the tiers. This is a great looking book.
My birthday's tomorrow. Creators. My birthday is tomorrow. What a great gift. I'm saying, I'm putting it out there. What a great gift it would be for some people to have some comic books. Kaijus and Cowboys comic books. What a great gift.
That's a great gift for you and for them.
Yes.
Because
we want to keep putting these out. We want to keep putting these out.
Exactly. And again, people, obviously we know times can be tough for, not everyone's situation's the same, but there's one thing we can always do, and that's share. And I'm going to say that probably about 3 more times tonight, is share these campaigns, grab those links, copy and paste them on your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, your threads, whatever you're using, and spread the word about these great indie campaigns out there, because we are in a renaissance, people. We're in a new golden age of creating, and
indies are in the house.
That's right. And we want to just keep supporting what's going on, because I hate to say it, the mainstream's not doing it, so let's take matters into our own hands.
Right on.
So just get this going, help support, and I really appreciate you coming on and sharing this campaign, dude.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on.
Yes,
man.
Of course. And please hang out with us.
Oh, most definitely.
We're gonna dive into what Orlando and
I'm ready to see what they got.
Have going on.
Ooh,
we got
I'm ready to
action,
see.
action biters.
I love getting inspired, man.
Sci-Fi, baby.
All
Here
right.
we go. So let's play your campaign video, and then we'll dive into it with you guys.
All right.
Wow. I love that.
Kick Doors Studio.
All right, I don't know.
Ooh, I
Karen,
like that. That was nice, man.
that was good.
Ooh, that was hot, man.
So
That
you're
was
gonna
hot.
tell me,
Yeah.
you're gonna
rocking
tell
it.
me
Look
this
at
is
the
your
game
first
out there.
comic
I'm
book?
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, I have a question though. I have a question. There was the one before the telekinesis. What is that? I don't know what that is. Geo something. What is that power?
Geokinesis.
Geokinesis, controlling rocks.
Controlling the earth.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think
man.
you guys are. I think you guys.
I know
are
we didn't want
lying
to call
to
it. Of course, we didn't want to call it something similar to people like earth bending. So we
No, I
thought
love
we called
it.
geokinetic. Geokinesis.
All right, Karen, Frankie. They said this is their first comic.
Yeah.
I know.
That's cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
Wait,
amazing.
Polished. That is
Well done.
polished. Oh my gosh.
I have a question.
That is
Is
AB
this
game.
Is this the first comic you've worked on at all, or did you work with a bunch of other people first doing their stuff and then use all the information? Like, because this is too good for you just to pull out of your ass out of nowhere and just be like, "What's it come from?"
That's what I'm talking. AB game right there. That's AB game, man.
Yeah.
No,
you
we
brought the game. You brought the game.
No, we studied the game. We've been
Yep.
Students of the game
for a while now. We've been kind of trying. Our goal has been trying to get into this game since 2005. And we've gone through various mental iterations, various times where we felt like maybe it would never happen, and kind of like Ray Frank was saying that for a long time you just felt like this was never going to happen. And the comic book industry, like I said, is very similar to other industries, just like film. Also, just like getting into the just book writing, because I'm also an author of 2 books of poetry. And so we never thought, just like then, I never thought that I'd be able to be a writer, because it's just like I said, so much gatekeeping and so much, so many obstacles, for the everyday person who's not connected to some type of machine or has a friend that's connected to a machine that can kind of like elevate them. And that's what is happening now. I think, like kind of keying off what Frank was saying, that the mainstream has really failed the public in a sense, because they've never really garnered that market again that they were losing. As all of us are getting older, they never really got that younger generation to come along with it with new characters, new exciting things. It's the very reason why people are talking about now how all of these superhero films are not doing as well as they expected them to do, because there's a sort of level, I think people are saying, of exhaustion, with the comic book superhero genre. So, I think we're all offering, in the end, we're all trying to offer fresh stories. Even if you're doing superheroes, you're trying to do it in a way that is not typical of what people have experienced all before, so they feel like, man, they can really get into something. And we watched other people's campaigns, good, the bad, the ugly. And then also, like Frank was saying, you learn to wear many, many hats. I trained myself on doing digital art myself. So even with my, learning that kind of thing, so that when you talk to artists, you can talk to artists from a position of understanding. And it's not like they're trying to teach you while you're trying to explain to them what you want. You have a strong set of knowledge that helps me. So even when I was working with the artist for one of the cover, who's out in Nigeria, he had never done a cover for a comic book. He actually did the cover for my second book of poetry. And, working with him, and he told me, he said, I really appreciate you as a writer. He said, because you have a strong understanding of the artistic experience and what we as artists have to go through and our kind of work product. And, he said, and I think that's because you've taken the time to learn some things of your own. And it's not like you're expecting me to you understand that this takes time, and you're not like rushing me and cracking and whipping like how come it wasn't yesterday, because you have a strong understanding. And he said it seems like you learned to have a good eye for art and what works on the page. And I think we took all of that kind of stuff from 2005 and we just kind of poured it into this first foray to make it as best as we possibly could as new people in this game.
Yeah. I appreciate what you said there, because I think you look at like mainstream and what's going on right now, and they're just like they're reshaping existing characters, where I think the strong point that we need is we need new dynamic characters. We need new dynamic diverse characters with their own stories. We don't, all they're doing is changing existing changing genders, races and stuff, but it's not bringing anything dynamic to the story.
It's not really new or organic.
It's just like I feel like they're just trying to check a list off, but not be creative and actually say, you know what, let's bring in the diverse creators, but let's let them create. Let's
It's like-
bring in all new visions and just create new stuff. You know,
It's like
'cause
I've seen-
we need fresh stuff, man.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we do.
I've seen even people, and I'll let Chris talk. I've seen even people who created new speedsters in other comics, and they still have a similar story to
Yeah.
speedsters from the mainstream, the two mainstream. It's like you gotta, even if it's a speedster, you gotta give him or her or they a really organic and new story or how they got
Yes.
this speed power. It can't be
Exactly.
anything connected to quote unquote a speed force kind of thing, or
Yes.
getting powers because of lightning, because that's been done.
Definitely.
Uh,
And real
Yeah,
quick, and then Chris, I'll let you. I'm sorry. I know I cut you off. I'm being a bad
It's all
host.
good.
But I want to we got our good friend just popped in backstage. Everyone, please welcome the very talented Mr. TJ Sterling.
All right.
What's going on,
What's going
TJ?
on, man?
What's up, guys?
What's happening? Hey, what's happening?
Oh,
Right on, right on.
I'm honored. I'm grateful. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for
Right
having
on.
me.
Awesome.
Niall,
awesome,
the whole
man.
team. Cara, how are you? Cara, I'm sorry if I messed that up. Frankie B, what's good?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Chris, what's going on, guys? How
Hey,
are
man.
you?
Hello, man. How you
What's going
doing, TJ?
Good,
How you
man. You guys are
Yeah.
kicking butt on your Kickstarter, man. I've been following
thank
along
you.
with my
Thank you.
updates, so yeah.
yeah, and we're diving now. So, Chris, man, let's. I know you got some things you want to say, so let's jump into you.
Oh no, just to piggyback off what Lando was stating about basically bringing new stories to the table, new characters, new adventures, and everything is greatly needed. I mean, like he stated, the character we grew up with got older with us,
Mhm.
and a
Yeah.
lot of those stories are too big, complex for a 10-year-old to get into. So the best thing to do is create a new concept, new stories, and all they can grow with themselves as they get older, and keep the process going. For the next generation, keep creating new content instead of basically hashing and de-aging and all the stuff of characters and all. And people were talking about, why superhero stories are not selling right now. Like, well, a lot of things have been done already. I mean, those characters are like 80 years old.
Mhm.
I mean, it's only
Yeah.
so many times you can tell those stories.
Right.
Exactly.
Very
And then
true.
we come from that kind of similar kind of background, like Frankie was saying, how
Yep.
as a kid he started reading, and I think back then the difference is what Frankie was saying, how he, just like I did, started reading comics just off the bat, pulling stuff off the shelves, and you didn't have this concern about all ages versus adult.
Yeah.
Because I think comics were simpler back then, but
Right.
we all know that in this new age, just content of all types of material is different, and I think you have to monitor that a little bit more. So we wanted to give something, that parents didn't have to worry about, older people didn't have to worry about, that people could enjoy and see where it goes, and just bringing that fun that we had when we were 7, 8, 9 years old. Like I was one of those kids who, when I was 8, 9 years old, third grade, my brothers were older than I was, and they just dumped a bunch of comics because they would figure I'm in high school now, so here's a box, take it and go. And I took that box, and back then, everybody talks big time about black and white comics, but back in the 70s, 80s, there was a lot of black and white comics.
Yes, it was.
A lot.
Yes.
There were a lot of
It sure was.
yearly comic. There were a lot of yearly comic that came out in black and white. Like one of the big ones I had that my mom unfortunately threw away. I had one of those big anthologies of Conan that was in all black and white. And my mom, unfortunately, she didn't know how I was. Oh man, I'm gonna have to rob you one night when you sleep. I'm gonna have to pay you.
I got that. Yep. I still got mine. Yeah, I still got mine.
See, now you know exactly what I'm talking about, and so you had those kinds of things happening, that were really fun, really cool, really interesting kind of stuff that you don't really get today unless you're willing to kind of pay a buttload of money, and kids can't pay a buttload of money. So
exactly,
we have this mashup, I think, that is good for them between Ben 10 and
Generator Rex,
and
the original Ninja Turtle series, with the animated series, that is.
Correct.
You don't want the black and white. That's a little too dark for children. But we tried to basically mimic what's basically out there now and everything that kids gravitated to in the last 10 to 15 years, and get it and basically put it in such a manner that this new generation of readers that we want to bring along could have something for themselves and grow with that. Keep growing with new stories and all, and keep passing it along to the next generation instead of basically. A Superman now who we see to be in his 40s, now he's 18 again, After a while, that gets tiresome and everything, and it's kind of it's repetitive, and it gets to a point where you feel like you're insulting. I feel like you're insulting your readership and all. So the best thing to do is just keep creating new stuff and everything, and you never get old.
Correct.
Exactly. So let's dive into this, guys. Let's talk about action
sure.
fighters
Wow.
and what you got. I love the art. I am blown
Yeah.
away by what your artist puts together. And the
Thank you.
story, when you read through in the description, about the story, I mean, I like what you guys put together, but I'm gonna let you guys talk about that. Give us the synopsis. Let's talk about what's going on in issue 1.
Sure. So in this first issue, we kind of jump in the middle of things where, we learn about these young kids who have been created for a nefarious, purpose by, Dr. Burnside. He has this idea of what he wants the world to be like, and he's tasked these 2 individuals to help him create this team that he's going to be, which really is kind of like his foray into world domination. And so one of the things why he chose the kids is because he believed that children are easy to control. So that's why these aren't like teenagers or adults, because from his perspective, Dr. Bernstein, kids look for love, kids look for affection. So he felt like the evilness inside of it, I can keep them under control by giving them fake senses of love and compassion, and that kind of being kind of a father figure to them in order to control the world. Well, what happens is that you have individuals from the background who don't believe in what he's doing, who help the kids escape.
So from that point forward and all, they basically figure out who he truly is and his true intentions and what his intentions are for them in the world. And they try to stop him, but Burnside has a lot of tricks. He has a lot of tricks up his sleeves. He's a devious classic villain, if you will. And he has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. That would be a legion of killer androids. And so being young and basically young and unrefined, if you will, in their powers, they're overrun by the androids, and they have to go into hiding for a while and train to get their confidence up and all, in order to come back and all to face their mad creator.
Right, and then we come back and we have 2 individuals that are assisting them who were actually assistants for Dr. Burnside. That twist in that they no longer believe in Burnside because they were kind of duped as well. That's Lee Latimer and Dr. Garza. They are individuals who are helping Burnside because they believe he's trying to make this peaceful world in a very positive way. But unfortunately, they learn. You see the character Lee right there with sunglasses there. He's there. He's going to be helping them train and get together, and so that they can fight against Burnside and his desires to bring the world under his control and his control only.
Very cool. We got a super chat here from Mario Ruiz, $5. That's not cheap. Thank you, sir. Cara Nicole delivering the goods tonight, going for the trifecta this evening.
Right
Pledge on all 3. Great work, gentlemen.
Yes. Wow.
Right.
Thank you
Mario.
so much. Thank you.
Appreciate it. And going through these sample pages, man.
I'm happy to see those robots, man. I'm like, oh, snap.
I'm sure, yeah. You love mechs and robots. I know you love those.
I was like, woohoo.
Yeah, man. And we plan to one of the things, like if you look through the offerings, one of the things that we were encouraged by other people, given advice by other people whose programs campaigns we backed. They were like, and on your first one, don't try to do too much, because we saw a lot of campaigns who were actually successful, but they were not able to deliver the merchandise that they promised because they had too much going on their first campaign. So what we, from some people might look at it, they might say, man, you guys aren't offering as much as some of the other campaigns. And that's because we really wanted to, as Frankie Creek could probably speak to better than us, it's a very exhausting process managing a Kickstarter program, and we wanted to be real good so that everything we promised, we were able to deliver on. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Nile, can you scroll back down?
You want me to go back up?
Yeah, can you go back up. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just keep going. There was a picture. Oh my God, stop right there. This is the stuff like when I say it's gold in advertising, because it's about the optics. It's about the optics. And when you see human beings, when you see somebody holding something tangible, it's like there's a connection made right there that this is real. Right. This isn't we learned it from Stan Lee. Yeah, we learned that. I'm looking at that. Going, because that's the whole process. Like when I see stuff like that, like again, I'm looking at all this great artwork and stuff. But I would tell people out there that one of the things I learned in advertising was that, again, with the optics, it's about those little things. Like again, showing somebody reading something. You don't even have to show a person's face, but all we see is the hands. I actually I did a few little ads like that where I was like, I had my wife take a picture of me holding a comic, and I'm telling you, people identify with that because they see themselves.
Programs out there. There are programs out there that you can easily do. And one of the things that I actually learned about doing the mock-ups and how important they are from
Yep.
doing the campaign for my actual book of poetry. And some people were explaining to me that, like you were saying, Frankie, that having a mock-up of someone holding your book or having your mock-up
Yep.
look like it's on a bookshelf, on a table, you're kind
Exactly.
of bringing the book into reality, even though it's not
Yep.
in their hands, it's
It's
not
real.
printed yet. It's
Yeah,
real
that's
now.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
real.
from a digital, and we said, yeah, we need to do. So we learned, like I said, we
Wow.
learned a lot from other people as well as
Bravo.
from my experience dealing with something outside
Well
of comics.
done.
Because thank you, because one of the things we're trying to be in a whole is not just do comics, but we want to be able to tell great, organic, powerful stories from
Yep.
our community on television, film, as well as in print, and that's our
There you go. There you
ultimate
go.
goal.
There
Yes.
you go. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's been a labor, but it's been really a really strong love of labor.
Yeah, it's been a labor, but it's been exciting along the way, and it's been very, like I say, it's never a bored moment when you're creating. I feel, for me personally, it's never a bored moment. It's always something new that you want to tackle, something new that need to be tackled. I feel a lot of times and all, because in the marketplace now, I feel there's a lot of sameness, and it's sad that we don't get the same level of readership that you will see in Japan with manga. I would love that for the United States, but the thing is that the reason why I feel like it's a lot less in here than it is in Japan, because we don't really emphasize reading like we used to.
Right.
And I feel like by getting people at a young age into reading comics and all, that would basically help them want to read into their 20s and their 30s and 40s and all at an early age and everything, because it's something that was basically put in our hands when I first got into comics, I was like 7 years old, and from that point forward and everything, I knew I wanted to do something creative. If it wasn't comics, it'd be something in a creative field. But that was something that was nourished at an early age and everything, and I feel it's not nourished by and large today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think from the time we talk about, because I think sometimes, and I understand why people do. People say stay away from, like in comics, they're afraid to talk about social political issues. And it's interesting to me because, like, during the 90s, Milestone was like prolific at giving you great art, but giving you excellent stories.
Yeah.
And everything doesn't have to be in your face, but sometimes even when you give like a slice of life and you address things in this kind of slice of life, telling the story, it gives the comic book so much more meat and so much more relevance to you, and makes it worth collecting to me.
Yeah.
And so we didn't want to shy away from that at the same time, but we also want to be diverse in our storytelling. So we just really want to just dive in and not be afraid, to do things and just see what will work with us. And we've had the chance to talk with some of the greats, like we've been great connections with like people like LaShawn Thomas. We met him at a number of times at very cons, and he even explained to us the whole thing. Like, he was one of the first ones to really help us understand the whole model of bringing animation to television, and how, at that time in the 90s, going back to Frankie B again, talking about how, you go into the 90s, we used to, at the time, we were doing in the late 80s and 90s, we go to those cons and we get all kinds of animation on DVD or VHS.
Oh yeah.
And that was,
you mean
the
bootleg? They're still around.
Not only the bootleg, but it was a time, because it was a time when, like, that was when you could find all the real stuff. You had to get it on DVD or VHS.
Yeah.
And so what was happening at the time, LaShawn explained to us, like, at the time, TV didn't really understand the model. And so they would just buy a few episodes and then they show those episodes over and over again, kind of like they did with the Dragon Ball Z series. And so, we wanted to just kind of make it a lot more, do things a lot more fun, things a lot more interesting, and make people feel like they're really getting their money's worth in the storytelling.
Yeah. For an all ages book, though, I mean, even as an adult, it's very, just looking at the pages, I mean, it's very eye pleasing, and from what the story is, I think, adults, kids, everyone's going to love it.
And we tried to kind of approach it from the standpoint, like, even like old school, like Warner Brothers stuff. Like, when you look at some like the old school, like Bugs Bunny stuff as an adult, you get that stuff on two different levels. You get the whole kabang, wild, and violence that's funny, but you also get the stuff that you missed as a kid, like the undertone story from Mel Blanc. When you get older, so we're hoping to capitalize, as Frank B. on this homage of doing that, where you have this story that has almost two levels, where adults can understand the deeper stuff, but the little kids can understand the stuff they can, and you have this great mashup, of things happening.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious, just a quick question. Do you have a rough idea of what your fulfillment might be? Like, Like a span of time? Like, are you looking at 3 months or 2 months?
We're looking at. I think we were told we were trying. What we were saying, we were trying to get it all out to people by November, by the end of November.
Okay.
That's our goal.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a
There you
good
go.
time frame. That's a good
Yeah.
time.
Good, and again, that's the thing of trying, like Chris was saying, just trying to overwhelm ourselves by having a
Exactly.
whole bunch of stuff. Like I've seen people do, like they have stretch goals. Like one person we watched on their first one, they had like 3 or 4 stretch goals
Yeah.
on their first one, and then
Such unnecessary pressure.
and they ended up being successful in meeting their goals, but they didn't meet the distribution goals of all the stretch things.
That's it.
Yeah. And so we didn't want to do that.
Well, you forget what the whole thing's about. It's supposed to be about the comic book.
Yeah.
Not a bunch of stuff. You know, I think that sometimes people tend to, you know, you end up turning like, it's like, well, is this a vendor? Or is this created in a comic book? You know, that's where the confusion is, because you go, vendors you buy T-shirts and a bunch of other stuff from.
Right.
But are you doing a comic book? And the comic book should be the protagonist of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have to have some stuff, then, you know, maybe some stickers or something like that, or whatever. Just be like, hey, here you go. Here's some nice little things. But you don't want it to be so complicated where all of a sudden you got this pressure. Because I'm telling you, that's the thing that's going to get you. Because when it comes down to like, well, where's my stuff? Because what's good is that we've been able to get down to a 3-month window for our fulfillment. And and lucky for us, knock on wood, is that we've had only a few people contact us, which has been great in a sense where some people are like, well, where's my stuff? Next thing you know, they'll be like, oh, we just got it. The mail just dropped it. But it hasn't been anything just really too crazy, you know.
Yeah, because I'm looking at your offerings on there. I was looking at I'm sorry, Frankie. I'm looking at your offerings on there. And I was like that, like having like that patch and stuff like that, and the stickers and stuff like. We wanted to do some of those things because we like to be really cool because this is kid stuff, and you know, with kid stuff, merchandising is how you really get it out there. From looking at the Ben 10 experience, you know, all the buttload of stuff out there.
Yeah, one of the best things has been, I know for me and Matthew, is that Matthew really deals. He's really good at dealing with the Kickstarter, the fulfillment stage of stuff. And as you can see, I'm more like, I'm the person where I love promotion, I love marketing, you know, the hype guy and whatever. I love this stuff. I love talking with people and stuff like that. So it's like we're able to split that energy, you know. So no one's taking too much of the weight, so no one's too overpressured, you know. When we do this stuff, and we can sort of bounce back off and on. That's great when you can have that kind of thing, because again, I don't want to see. I'm tired of seeing posts of people who are having like almost close to nervous breakdowns. It makes me sad. I don't know about anybody else, but it just makes me sad to see somebody just like, they're like, yo, I can't do this anymore, because we possibly could be losing the next Jack Kirby, or the next whatever, you know, writer and stuff like that, just because it's just too much for them, because they've taken on too much, you know. So
and that's what we didn't want to do.
Yeah,
that's what we didn't want to do, because you know, even like we've been talking about this stuff since Chris was going through his chemotherapy for cancer and everything. Because a lot of the stuff that he was that you see in the comics, he created and thought through while he was literally sitting in the chair getting chemotherapy. And so it's really been a love of Blade, you know, for him in that vein.
Yeah.
And for the record, I am completely cancer free, so don't worry.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, man.
I know.
I am happy to hear
like
that.
the mood. I know the mood is like, oh man, it's like, oh, right on. Yeah, you brought it back up. It's like, yeah, right on.
I was hoping that's what we were gonna hear.
I know. It got quiet. I was all like sitting back in my seat. I was like, oh no. I was like, oh my god,
no. And the reason why we wanted to share that is because so many people talk, like you said, there's so many people going through so many things and say they can't get it done. And you know, Chris was going through his things. I had gained a job and lost a job in the process doing the same time and everything. So it was a lot of like you said, pressure. Like Frank, there's a lot of pressures going on. But at a certain point, like you said, you're working in the daytime and at nighttime, various times, and anytime you can find, you're hitting it on what you really want to do, so that when you get that moment where you can actually breathe and kind of give birth to it all, it comes out. It comes out, the birth canal in a much more perfect form.
Be smarter. I always say, like, I tell people about the stories of when I played racquetball. And I'll never forget, I went in, when I was really like much better shape, but I was playing racquetball, and I remember me and my buddy, we went up against these old schoolers. And I remember the old schoolers, the guys kind of looked at us and they were like kind of laughing. He said, all right, kids, get in there. So we got in there. We're like all young and stuff, and we're like, yeah, dude, we're gonna
beat these old dudes.
Yeah, we're gonna be. Nah, man. What happened was those dudes played it smart. They played a smart game. They knew how to hit the angles of the wall. They had me and my friend.
Yeah.
Me and my friend were drenched in sweat. Just because we were chasing the ball.
Played. That's what happened.
We got played. We got played. We were chasing the ball. And these guys were just like, yo, they didn't waste that much energy. They just knew how to play the game much, much better. And that's the thing you want to get. You want to be able to play the game much, much better. You want to be more strategic about what you do. You don't want to be just jumping and rolling the dice and gambling like, oh yeah, I'm going to take a chance on this and that. That's too risky. Yeah. You want to be able to walk in there and be like clear of mind, clear of thought.
Think it through.
Boom. Think it through. Take your time. Talk. Communicate. You know, shoot ideas against the wall. Maybe something won't work. And then eventually, once you come to a consensus, then you can be like, all right, cool, let's go with it. You know.
The other thing I would say that's been positive, sorry, is going back to something I think Nile was saying earlier about relationship. You know, there were a lot of people who, you know, we talked to along the way that didn't stay with us, you know, for the ideas we had and what we wanted, the direction we're trying to go. And so one of the things that helped is we start expanding, you know, our sphere of relationship, because you find like sometimes you get into like cliques of people in comics and stuff like that. And they're all on the same page of doing things. And it's not going anywhere. You're all talking about the same thing, and it's not really going anywhere. So
that's right.
We had to. There are a lot of people whose comic books that we backed that didn't back us, and it's okay. But we learned a lesson. Many of those people we backed just didn't have the same kind of vision we had, and some of those individuals no longer are around in the game, they are, and some of them just strictly do mainstream stuff. They don't do anything indie. And so we didn't want to be that kind of person. We didn't want to be the kind of person that says that we only mess with this type of artist. Writer who thinks this way. You know, we wanted to, so we expanded. So we started meeting people.
My
people
question:
People don't understand that there are great writers in Brazil, UK, all throughout, particularly the western side of the African continent and certain parts of and in Canada as well. We began to make beautiful relationships with these people doing very unique things in other places.
Who do you want to read your comics?
Honestly, since all age, everyone, we want everyone to feel
that's it. You just said it. Everyone. You want everyone on this global, this big planet, global. You have to think global because we have the technology. We have the technology. Yes.
Yeah. Going back to what Chris was talking about with manga.
Manga with everything, you have the world. So just because your people may not be in your environment, you have 7 billion people in the world.
Yes. Correct.
Yes. I think that comic books.
We like this stuff. They just might not be.
And whoever I'm talking to, I'm constantly telling the writers in particular, we have to be like a renaissance of reading and writing in this country because, like Chris was talking about earlier, how in the 80s, you guys are old enough to know that during the Reagan era, Reagan literally defunded education in this country, where he defunded the amount of money that was going to regular public schools as well as the public universities. And now we're seeing the vestiges of that all across the country. I mean, look at Florida, my God.
Handwriting.
What
about calligraphy? Handwriting. What about handwriting, man?
People don't read or any of that.
Remember that?
But you go to Japan, you go to Korea on the trains and on the buses. People are reading for hours going to work. They might have a 2-hour commute, and they're reading multiple books or multiple sections of a book between the time going to work. Whereas in America, if it's not TikTok, if it's not X, if it's not IG, you really don't see them with books in their hand. They have this in their hand every place they go, and that's all they're doing is this.
Very true. Very true. Digital copies. So that's where we want to be a part of. And you guys, man, your first campaign, like I said, it's very, very polished.
That's impressive.
You know, and that shows, you know, your guys' work ethic, your quality.
You funded and you've got 28 days to go. You're doing great.
28 hours.
28 hours.
28 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you
got to do it all over again?
I know. Now you start seeing the sweating. The sweat starts coming down. Lord have mercy. No.
Now let me tell you, so if you guys are new here, I am kind of like weirdo with this. And I will tell you what you can do when your campaign is over. You go over to Indiegogo and you talk to them, and then you're gonna roll this campaign over there, and you're gonna keep that bitch in demand as long as you are getting more backers. You're ordering the books anyway. Order some more. Get those sales going. So you go from Kickstarter, roll that right over to Indiegogo.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
That's some thought.
Perfect.
That's some thought there. Yeah.
Got some thought. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Chris and Orlando, man, thanks so much for coming on. Thanks for bringing
Thanks so
action
much for having
fighters
us.
to
No problem.
us.
We appreciate it.
And
We do.
Yeah,
everyone,
this is awesome.
look in the live chat. The link's been posted. The link for this campaign's below. Again, I'm going to say it. Continue supporting indie creators.
Yes,
Grab
please.
that link, copy, paste
Please.
it, share on your Facebook, your Twitter, your X, your Instagram, your Threads, whatever you're using. Also, for my fellow YouTubers out there, I know they'll do this. You know, if these campaigns are still going to be running and you got slots left for guests, feel free to reach out to any of the guests we have on the show if you want to have them on to help continuing promote these books.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Mr. TJ,
I know.
you ready
What's
to rock
going
and
on?
roll?
All right.
Let's get him
Yes.
off that mute.
Woo!
Yeah,
Whoa,
some
look at that.
Joystick
Woo.
Angels.
Yes. It's the campaign. It's what we got going on.
Looking good. Looking
I
good.
know.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
thank you, man. Thank you. Oh, looks like we just made $5. Awesome.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. As we're talking.
Nice.
Wonderful.
As we're talking, yes. So Joystick Angels is an all-ages space opera where 5 young black
Oh,
space pilots
nice.
are trying to save the universe from an evil alien empire. If anybody who's watching is a fan of like Guardians of the Galaxy, Star Wars, Star Trek, any of those cool space opera stuff, you're absolutely gonna love this. It's kind of a throwback, type of comic to like the 80s and 90s, retro joystick video game that you go to an arcade to play. So a lot of the costuming, the colors are very much styled in that particular genre, that very, very bright fluorescence and greens and magentas and really, really cool stuff. And the dopest part about this book is each book comes with its own soundtrack. It literally has custom music composed by a musician to kind of enhance the experience. Like, hey, if we're going to talk about video games, stuff from the 80s and 90s, you got to have a soundtrack, you got to have music. And I was fortunate enough to work with a very, very great professional producer on this. So that's a little bit about the campaign. We're offering issue 1, 2, and 3 in one offering.
Nice.
And people can get all my other stuff too, all my legacy titles. So everything's available here on the Kickstarter.
Awesome. Well, let me play the campaign video and then we'll go through it.
Let's do it.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is TJ Sterling, CEO and lead artist at Ray Comics. And this is Spencer Sterling, lead producer and artist at Mid Music. And we're here today to talk to you about our incredible, amazing comic book series. You know it, you love it, Joystick Angels. If y'all remember, Joystick Angels is an all-age space opera about 5 fighter pilots with one goal in mind. That's to defend the entire universe against the evil parasitic empire, Eucharia. In Joystick Angels issue 2, we pick up exactly where we left off in issue 1. Something different has happened. The entire Joystick Angels team is essentially disbanded. All 5 pilots are off doing their own thing, training, just basically living life, but also still refining their skills at the same time individually, until a distress call comes into the Libor space station. And essentially, all hands are on deck. The entire squadron of all fighter pilots in the entire, colony of Libor have essentially been called into action to save and protect, as well as rescue, the remaining last human colony in deep space that the Eucharia has taken over. That's right. And one of the things that we really love about Joystick Angels is that it's all about family. We see the Joystick Angels come together, put their differences aside, and move forward for Libor and the rest of the universe. And see, one of the things that we're going to introduce you to, we're actually really excited about this, it's the Cavalry, one of the OG squadrons that have protected and essentially been badasses throughout the entire universe for a long time. So one thing we love too about the Cavalry is that the Cavalry is you guys. In the last campaign, we had some super high level tier backers, and essentially they became part of the Joystick Angels story. They're literally now woven into the fabric of this incredible universe. And what's super cool about it as well is that this Cavalry is basically comprised of some of the most colorful, amazing characters that have been taken from real life, put into actual 2D stories. So we're super excited about that. And also, we want to tell you too that the Cavalry is tasked with also one thing at the very end of issue 2, which we can't necessarily give it away, but is they're supposed to basically be protectors and bring their expertise and their knowledge to help and save the Angels from the calamity that they get into at the end of issue 2. That's right. And moving into issue 3, we actually take it back a little bit. We show you the Cavalry in their younger years, in their formative years, and some of the perils that they have to go through. You guys are really going to love it. The cool thing about issue 3 as well is that, because it's a flashback, it essentially gives us a little bit of a moment to really understand more about the universe of Joystick Angels, as well as the origin story of some of the characters. So what we're asking for here is your help to essentially print and produce the second 2 issues of Joystick Angels, that's issue 2 and 3. So in this offering, you get 2 full comics, guaranteed and promised. So by the end of this campaign, by the end of everything that's done, people are going to be able to get 2 issues simultaneously. Joystick Angels issue 2 is completely done, drawn, colored, out the door, completely finished. And then Joystick Angels issue 3 is about 80% done right now. That's right, guys. And I don't know if you guessed it, but since we have 2 more issues, we have 2 more original sound effects coming. Fire, which I absolutely can't wait for myself. I'm a super huge fan of this book, and I know you guys are too. So thank you so much for supporting us, backing us in the future. If you're not able to make a financial contribution to this book, please, share it and tell your friends about this amazing campaign. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Very nice. Love it, dude.
Yeah.
Love it.
The video was long because I had to describe 2 comics. So thank you so much.
No, that was great. That was great.
It's all good.
Yeah. And all your work, man. I've been a fan of yours for like a while. I think I discovered you about 3 years ago. And I know you've been on before. And I've just always I've been in love with your work. It's incredible.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, I painstakingly kind of like kill myself every single day to make sure that whatever I produce and whatever I put out there is of the absolute highest quality. And we're really
that's right. Yep.
Competing with the Marvels and the DCs of the world. Like, I mean, they're the ones that are making all the money and have all the movies and the TVs and the games and the merch, and we're literally aspiring to that level with our own our own businesses. So we got to bring it, man, every single time, and that's the difficult part. That's worth it.
Yeah,
definitely. And this cover here is just amazing.
Thank you.
The beautiful thing is that the mainstream is recognizing, TJ, that the indies are what's really carrying the comic book industry as so much as it is right now.
That's right.
It is.
Because
now remember, while everything's on strike, while the writers and the actors and everyone's on strike, we don't have nothing being made. This is our time.
Yeah,
and
I totally agree. Yeah.
And I've mentioned this before that Nile was talking about us being in a renaissance. This is not about us making money. This is about all of us surviving and being successful in something amazing.
And making money.
Your artist, your inker, your letterer. These are people that you guys, when you help fund these creators, you guys are not just giving this guy money. You're helping the print shop who's down the street from me 2 miles to pay for his daughter's hockey. And you're paying for that kid's karate lessons. And you're helping to create a strong, positive, capitalist style society. We all work together. We're all building and we're all creating.
And we don't have to steal from each other in order to be successful.
I totally feel. I feel that we're right in that stage, because I feel like this happened before, during the 60s, and during that time when Marvel and them, everybody was hurting after the the comic book scares and that's all that stuff that was going on. What was it, late 50s into the 60s? A lot of companies got hit hard because of that, and so. Then Marvel came up and they started shooting some of these crazy ideas. I mean, they threw everything they could at the wall. X-Men, when it first came out, wasn't a hit.
Correct.
Yeah. A lot of that stuff wasn't a hit, and then they just kept throwing stuff at the wall, and then finally stuff started sticking. So I think that this is our time right now that we're going through that same thing, and and the stuff has to come out, and it all has to be somewhat like diverse. And I'm saying diverse in style wise, story wise.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
options. Give people options.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And that's what you don't get from the mainstream.
Yeah.
It's really authentic, diverse creations, made out of love, like we're not making it to meet a quota,
that's
we're
soul
not
food of comic.
making it to check a box. Like we're literally making it because this is what we see when we look out our door. This is what we grew up with. This is the things that we love, and it's really pure. And that's the beautiful part about indie comics. You're dealing with purity. So when you have the opportunity to support, a creator like myself, or Orlando and Chris, or Frankie, or Cara, or Nile, or anybody who's making great comic books, you have to do it like full on. You just, whether you're backing at $5 or $500, whatever it is, we super appreciate it, because this is what we do. We take that money, we funnel it right back into our IP, and we pay our artists, and we take care of people, and we really are using it for the greater good. So I want you guys to check out every single one of these campaigns. Of course, I dropped the link in the chat, joystickangels.com. Takes you right to the Kickstarter where you can check out this amazing campaign. We're trying to hit that 10K stretch goal, which is some master classes as well as some unreleased covers that are going to be added to the book as well.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice. And how many issues are in this arc?
So that I do everything in 6-issue arcs. That's how I do everything. So right now we've got 3 issues available out of 6. My artist is drawing issue number 4 right now. I'm writing number 5. So the wheels are turning, man. They're going as fast as they can.
Nice. You're not drawing on this book?
I'm not actually. Yeah, I'm currently drawing.
Making that transition?
Yeah, well, I'm drawing another book right now. I'm drawing Okemos, which is my flagship series. It's the very first book I ever created.
So
that's actually available in this Kickstarter, the collected edition. So I'm drawing the final book in that series, which is number 6, and that's a 40-page book. So I'm about 5 pages in, and still got a ton of work ahead of me.
Yeah.
That's a great series. So really, if anyone wants to grab those, get those back issues on this campaign. It's amazing what you've done with that series.
Thank you so much.
Now let's talk a bit about the music.
Thank you. I was just going to ask that.
Yeah.
I knew it.
All right. Here we go.
All right.
It's like looking at my clone, right? Yeah, it's funny. So this is my brother, J. Spencer Sterling. Not just because he's my brother, but he's actually a really incredibly talented dude. I was the art guy, the art and comic guy, and he was the music guy growing up. So he was band, orchestra, piano, flute, drums, bass, guitar, synthetics, everything that you think about in terms of music. He's done it all. He's mastered it. He's worked for Universal. He's literally, produced for tons of indie artists over the years. And he obviously is, he's got tons of different styles. Like he actually produces EDM, trap, hip hop, house. He does kind of everything, R&B. And he's just a very well-versed storyteller with music. So we were literally making dinner because we used to live together in New Jersey. And, I was like, yeah, bro, we should work on something. We should do something. What's something we're not seeing in comics right now? I'm like, whoa, okay, so black and brown people in space. We don't see anything like that on the market. So we don't see any diverse space characters. So let's make something cool. And I'm like, well, it's got to be something retro, something. Let's make some video games in it. Let's throw some music in it. So it was really just a conversation where we just kind of caught lightning in a bottle and said, hey, why don't we make something different, something cool, something exciting? And that's where the idea was birthed. And then we made the comic book and hired a great artist, and then he went to work on the soundtrack. Each comic book that you buy has a soundtrack. So issue number 1, 2, and 3 all had different soundtracks. So when you open that first page, there's a barcode, you scan it, takes you to Apple Music or Spotify. You can stream the instrumental music for free as you read it, and kind of enhances the experience overall.
Nice.
Wow.
I love that.
That's really ingenious, man. I like that too. That's pretty cool.
There's not too many. Yeah, I mean, you're probably like one of 3 creators that have done that.
Yeah, it's very interactive. I mean, I think that's amazing, and that's important. I think that's
it's a full experience.
Well, it gives new depth because you think about it, right? Like when you're watching a movie,
Yeah.
You know, even though we may not realize that it's there sometimes because you're into the dialogue,
Sure.
there's always the background music, right? There's
It's
always
very
something
important. It's
playing.
I mean, man,
it's gonna just bring you into that experience.
what's
And,
Godzilla without Akira's soundtrack? What's
Yeah.
Godzilla?
Right?
If you don't hear that,
Right.
man, it's like Godzilla's
Right.
coming. So I mean,
let's
yeah, the music is
let's
important.
welcome Matt onto the show. Matt's
there he goes,
Frank
my
partner,
Matt,
man.
my
partner
Hey,
in
now.
crime.
Hey everyone, sorry about that. For some bizarre reason, I didn't get the link to the stream until now because, like, I think Twitter is screwy. So, sorry about that. I'm here.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, so each book's got its own soundtrack.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
is it
so one
all
of my-
instrumental? Is it all just instrumental?
All instrumental music. I mean, again, we didn't want to put any vocals to it. We wanted to kind of be like, because we literally would talk about like, okay, what's a lot of the stuff you listen to? I listen to a ton of OSTs, like original soundtracks. For movies.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I listen to like the Iron Man soundtrack or the Captain America soundtrack or anything that
Power
like
Rangers.
those big instrumental, like, you know, like chorus
Yes.
type of big band soundtracks are really exciting to me because there's all these different instrumentations that create the feeling behind the scene. And my brother is such a storyteller with the music that he makes, you know, in his free time, you know, when, you know, for his job, when he's making music, it's literally something that, you know, he does storytelling by nature. So I was like, you have to tell this story of these characters and of this world with Sonics. You have to. And one of my favorite comic books growing up, and I'll never forget it, was a Ninja Turtles comic book that you bought, and it came with a little tape. You know,
Yeah, the cassette.
So you put in the cassette, and like you could play it on whatever chapter you were on, and it would walk you through parts of the book as well. It would have like sounds, and you know, whether they're in the sewer, you're hearing the dripping, and you're hearing
That's
the
nice.
rats
I didn't know
crawl.
that.
They're also talking. So I just love this interactive element of comics because it really brings you into a different world. So I was like, how do I do that with like on a budget, you know?
Yeah.
Without the Kevin Eastman, I mean, like the Peter Laird money, how do I make this on my own without killing myself, you know?
That's awesome, dude. I remember that book. I had that.
Yep.
Never heard of it. Wow, that's wow.
Me either.
That came out. I think that was like it was definitely early
93, maybe
'90s. Yeah, I was gonna say
94.
like maybe like maybe even like 91, 92.
Yep.
Yeah,
Wow, that's pretty
that's
ingenious.
awesome.
Wow.
Man, these sample pages are phenomenal, dude.
Thank you, man. Yeah, this is straight from issue 2 right here. So this is Loris Ravina coloring on top of Nats Ledesma, two Ray Comics exclusive artists that just, you know, absolutely kick butt and do some really cool stuff. And yeah, you know, post issue 1, you know, we came out of the pandemic and it was just a very interesting time. You know, issue 2 and 3 took a while because, you know, the artists, you know, got caught COVID. His wife got sick. You know, people are dealing with, you know, depression and all kinds of stuff. So like you know, regular human being stuff happens.
Yeah.
And then you got to wait. And, you know, that's what I was like, hey, 2023, I'm dropping 2 issues for you guys. We're doing something amazing, and we're going to, you know, recap it and get it back up.
Nice.
Very cool, man. Very cool.
Thank you.
Now, with all of your
2020 was a very interesting year for everyone. Sorry.
For sure.
yeah, no,
That was-
hey, you know what? It was a great year for crowdfunding. You know, with lockdown and everything. I mean, people were spending. You know, that's true right there. Even streaming.
Yeah.
I mean, so many new streaming channels and stuff came about, so it was pretty cool in that regard. Gave us something to do. But now with the, you know, I'm going through some of the tiers and stuff here, and you know, you've got the back issues. What do you have? Shattered Visions?
Yes, I mean, the coolest thing about this campaign is that you can literally purchase everything I've ever made. So if you want to get our flagship series, Okamos, which is the sci-fi martial art action story about this young guy whose latent power could potentially save the broken world of 4 time travelers. That's the book I wrote and drew myself, and that's, you know, 180 pages, only $40. Comes with a digital copy. You can get Okamos Dark History, which is the prequel to that story. It's a 100-page graphic novel. You can get Shattered Visions, our cyberpunk book, where the main character is the world's most notorious villain. And obviously, you can get the first 3 issues of Joystick Angels, whether you want the printed or digital issues. We have both. And each book also you can buy a CD to go along with it. So you can get the physical CD or the digital, whatever you want. We've got everything. Got some T-shirts on there. So yeah.
Wow.
Lots of stuff.
So much great stuff here, man.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah, I took the tier to get all 3 issues.
Thank
get
you.
myself caught up with this one.
Nice.
Awesome.
This is cool. But don't you have other series too as well?
Yeah, everything you see is here. Yeah, again,
Everything's
Okemos Shattered Visions and Okemos Dark History. Those are my other 3 series. Again, Shattered Visions is ongoing. It's a collaboration between me and Dream Fury Comics. We're writing volume 2 right now. I do have maybe about 5 or 6 other IPs in generation right now. I don't consistently moving, and those aren't even close to being available or ready to show anyone. So right now it's really just what's finished, because I like to do a Kickstarter when a book is done. I don't want people to wait all that
How
long.
long have you been doing comics, TJ? How long have you been doing comics, TJ?
I mean, professionally since 2015, so not really all that long.
Wow.
But
That's
collector
impressive.
for life, fan ever since I was a
That's
kid.
impressive.
I definitely had some experience working for the big 2. I worked, did some work for Marvel for about a year, and then I did some stuff for DC and Dark Horse for a little bit. But I really like indie, man. That's my thing, you know. I love it.
I think a lot of people are liking indie.
Yes.
You're seeing a lot of people cross over from the big guys and heading to indie.
Yeah,
Nothing
and you
wrong
can
with that.
you can go back and actually, if you're curious about what some of these books are like, if you go into TJ's profile, you can actually preview some of this stuff. So Okemos, it's a Sentai Sci-Fi, which is awesome.
Oh, nice.
I mean,
All right.
look at this here. Look how
Okemos are flagship
I think I
titles
remember.
that
I think I remember this campaign.
You probably do,
do.
man.
Yeah,
it was,
'cause
we
we
were
said Sentai,
advertising the heck out of it.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
this is for the first 4 issues of Okemos, which is a sci-fi super, like kind of a sci-fi martial art action story with the main character, Kale. He's the guy that's kind of wrecking all the havoc in these pages. He's got a latent power trapped in his DNA, and these warriors in the future, these super Sentai-esque warriors, are trying to steal that power for their own purposes. Come to find out their world is broken, and they're trying to fix it with this DNA anomaly. So putting all those cool things that I loved from the 90s in this book.
This is your art? Is this your art?
This is me. I'm the writer and artist in the series. Yes, sir.
All right.
Wow. All right.
Incredible.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So it's like Power Rangers from the villain's perspective.
You could say that if you want to simplify it. Sure, absolutely. I would say, I mean, for me, the idea of just what made the 90s cool for me was like, I love the Hulk, I love the Power Rangers, I love Spawn. I was like, I love the Guyver, I love anime. Like, I really wanted to put all that into one book, and kind of just like flip some of those stereotypes and kind of like expectations on their head,
All right.
Very cool, man. But let me go back to your current campaign.
Yeah, no problem.
But this is great. Everyone, again, link is below. Link has been in the live chat. The mods have been putting all the links for all the campaigns in the chat if you want to catch up. But again, this is a great campaign. You got 21 days to go. You're definitely going to hit that 10K goal for sure.
Oh yeah.
And now you'll be attending Baltimore Comic Con.
Yeah, we're like neck to neck. It's like 20 more days, right? Oh, same here.
yeah, 21 more days to go. Super excited about it. Yeah, I'm going to Dragon Con Atlanta. I'm flying out tomorrow, so I'll be there next weekend.
Yeah,
I've been there Baltimore right after that.
Excellent. Yeah, and all those books will be there. He's got a great, he puts on a great table. He's got a great display. Everything's there. So if any of you guys are attending those cons, stop by TJ's booth. Frankie or Orlando and Chris, Matt, you guys have any conventions or anything you guys plan on hitting up?
No conventions.
Not at this time. Not at this time. No.
Just working on art, catching up.
Right.
Yeah.
I am making plans because I live in Oregon. I'm making plans for Portland Fan Expo, possibly in the future.
Okay.
So, but other than that, not at the moment.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, what's your next step after this, TJ? What are you going into for the next campaign?
Really, I mean, I think for me, the biggest thing is making sure that I fulfill as fast as possible. So, the final finishing touches are being put on issue 2 and 3 right now. And we've got to get the lettering done, which, usually takes about, 2 to 3 weeks. And then when the lettering is done, we're literally going to send everything to print, get the books here at my my studio, and then I'm going to just start shooting them out as fast as I possibly can. So the goal is to really get everyone their books, between October and November tops, and that's a vicious goal, but it's really just like that's what I'm going for. So that's you have impressive. It for the holidays, and then I'm drawing Alchemist number 6, the final one in that series. Wow. And I'm writing a whole bunch of other books. I've got to write issue number 5 of Joystick, and number 6. What else? I've got a whole bunch of other books that I have to write and finish, and just grinding, man. I think New York Comic Con is my last show of the year, and once that's done, I'm just gonna relax for the rest of the year and take it easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool.
A good plan.
Very cool.
Very good plan.
Yeah. And Daniel Russell, thank you. He backed all 3 campaigns.
Oh, wow.
Tonight.
Thank you,
so much,
Daniel.
Daniel.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Daniel.
Wow, thank you.
Very cool. And you guys, I think all
You're
you
the
guys
best.
got a couple backers tonight.
Thank you.
I'm going to see if I can. Do we get an update? Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. All right.
Huzzah!
All right. 59.
Boom.
Let's see. There you go.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Daniel, appreciate it.
All right. Very cool. Man, great campaigns tonight, guys. Really.
Oh, thank you so much.
All the art, the stories.
Appreciate this platform.
Freaking dynamite
Thank you,
stuff.
Daniel Russell. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right on. Thank you.
Daniel Russell and all the other backers tonight.
So my question to everybody in the chat is can you guys accompany and make Daniel Russell feel like he's got a friend here? Can we have another? Can we have some more backers?
Yes. I know. We love writers.
He's so lonely. He needs company.
He's lonely right now. He needs some backer friends, man.
Follow Daniel's example, please.
That's right. Right on.
Mario Ruiz, Marcus.
Appreciate everyone for even coming past and listening to us talk.
Jump in,
I know. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this has been a blast. Appreciate
Frankie,
your guys'
He's
time.
got custom artwork for just $75. Just $75.
That's a steal.
Shameless plugs, love it.
Well, they've already seen the figure. That's available.
Yeah, it looks lovely.
Yeah.
So,
Very
there you
nice,
go.
Very nice. Well, everyone, thanks so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you to our guests. Campaigns look great. We'll continue sharing them periodically, throughout the weeks. I'll get a one out for you, Chris and Orlando, on our social media, channels and get that out there. I know you guys got 28 hours or so to go. So see what else we can get for you guys. Same for you, TJ, Frankie, and Matt. We'll share them out periodically throughout the next coming weeks. And again, you guys are always invited on. If you got anything coming on,
wow, all right,
please, if you want to hang out, if you see the promo and you're like, I want to go on with that person, you can hit me up in DM. If anybody wants to be a guest on the show, I do recommend. I get so many requests through DM, and I don't remember shit. So there's a lot of times I'm
you're not gonna do a little reminder. Hello.
So make sure to email.
I will probably take you up on that.
Yeah.
There you go. Email scheduling at thepopxp.com. Frank Amazing will, take your info, see where we can get you booked in if we've got time in the schedule before your campaign ends.
Right on.
And that's up in all of our socials too. You'll see that even on the YouTube channel. If you go to our info, it's got it in there as well if you want to be a guest. And again, thanks everyone. TJ, I'll see you in Baltimore. We'll have to get dinner or drinks or something.
Let's do it, man.
And everyone else, have a great night. I don't know what we got going on next week because of conventions, but we'll have a couple shows, I'm sure.
Right.
And thanks again to the backers. Everyone have a great night.
Yep.
And
have a
we'll
great
see
night,
you
everyone.
all on the next
Good
one.
luck to everyone's
All right.
campaign.
Keep the art flowing.
Thank you.
Right on.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Peace, everyone.
Hey everyone! Thank you for joining us on Pop XP. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we go live and we upload some awesome new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at @thepopxp and over on Instagram @thepopxp. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you soon.